In his 16th year, Narcissus, still a slender boy, but already a man, infatuated...
is calm. Say this city has 10 million souls.
Double park, don't lock
Human
the door.
beings
A snake
suffer.
came
The
to my
Owl
water
and the
trough.
Pusscat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took with them honey and plenty of money, wrapped up in a 5-pound note.
Today we have naming of parts. Yesterday we had daily cleaning, and tomorrow morning we shall have what to do after firing. But today we have naming of parts.
The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are, you are. What a beautiful pussy you are.
Double park, don't lock the door. Push the pedals through the floor. Give it loads and then some more. It's a hire car, baby. Grip the stick, grind the gears, watch that distance disappear. Never be yours in 1,000 years. It's a hire car, baby.
Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Let us be married, too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring?
Say this city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yeah, there's no place for us, my dear. Yeah, there's no place for us. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you'll find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now.
So they sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. And there, in the wood, a piggy-wig stood with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose.
A snake came to my water trough on a hot, hot day, and I in pyjamas for the heat, to drink there. In the deep, strange-scented shade of the great, dark carob tree, I came down the steps with my pitcher and must wait, must stand and wait, for there he was, at the trough before me.
Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill.
It's a hire car, it's a hire car. Why would anybody buy a car? Bang it, brang it, say ta-ta. It's a hire car, baby. Bad behaviour in the street? Save yourself a couple of sheets. Collision waiver. It's a hire car, baby.
They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand, on the edge of the sand, they danced to the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon.
I'm an incurable optimist. Despite the things we see every night, I am always convinced there is hope. And so the poem I've chosen tonight is about hope. I think it speaks to Northern Ireland, to South Africa, but I hope it speaks to the Congo, to the Horn of Africa, to Iraq, to Afghanistan. It's from Seamus Heaney, from his The Cure at Troy. Human beings suffer. They torture one another. They get hurt and get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong, inflicted or endured.
If you but understood, I feel toward you as a husband, lover, college roommate surely would. My heart so often sings to think of you, times when I read the poem you wrote, or see your stunning smile upon the retina of my mind.
A hunger striker's father stands in the graveyard, dumb. The police widow in veils faints at the funeral home.
In the village churchyard there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. The consul banged the table and said, if you've got no passport, you're officially dead. But we're still alive, my dear. We're still alive.
History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme.
Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying, "They must die." Oh, we were in his mind, my dear. Oh, we were in his mind.
So, hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. Call the miracle self-healing, the utter self-revealing double take of feeling.
I frequently regale my friends with tales of your endearing young audacity. You are, in some ways, so very bright for just 16.
If there's fire on the mountain, or lightning and storm, and a God speaks from the sky, that means someone is hearing the outcry and the birth cry of new life at its term.
I'm going to read D.H. Lawrence's Snake. I love it because it is a poem of respect for one of the lords of life. It's a superbly atmospheric poem. You can really feel the heat of the Sicilian sun and the need for both the man and the snake to find water. A Freudian, I suppose, would have a field day with the idea of a snake disappearing into a deep, dark hole. But that's not what I do, and as Freud himself said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. E.O. Wilson, the great biologist, has pointed out that it's rather odd that so many people have phobias about snakes and scorpions and spiders. Nobody has a phobia about motor cars, which are far more dangerous than any of those. But they're too recent for natural selection to have done anything about it.
The poem I'm going to read is by Matthew Arnold, and he isn't actually my favourite poet, but this is one of my favourite poems. It's a rather sad one, but I think it's a great poem. It's Dover Beach.
It's called Refugee Blues, and yes, indeed, it's appropriate for our time. This is not my favourite poem, and I don't think it's a great poem, but I think it's a relevant poem. And when I say that it's by W.H. Auden, you will realise that I'm implying having a political significance. It's his anniversary this year, and there has been a great discussion in all the papers about what his politics amounted to.
It's nice to hear Auden. I'd just like to point out my hair, which is actually an Auden do. It is. It's the centenary Auden hair. Hope it'll catch on. I'm going to read John Cooper Clarke, contemporary poet. What I like about him is that he's kind of on the front line with poetry. He's in bars and clubs and rock festivals, giving it loads down the front.
I'm just going to cheat a tiny bit and, if I may, do two sections, just sections, from two poems. The first is taken from Ted Hughes's wonderful translation of the Ovid poems and is the story of Narcissus and Echo. And the second half is a section from The Wasteland that you mentioned, which is a husband and wife at home. And somehow both poems seem to hold, or both sections seem to hold in them the sort of catastrophic fracture that can occur between first meetings between men and women and later meetings between men and women. In his 16th year, Narcissus, still a slender boy, but already a man, infatuated many. His beauty had flowered, but something glassy about it. A pride kept all his admirers at a distance. None dare be familiar, let alone touch him.
He reached down from a fissure in the earth wall in the gloom and trailed his yellow-brown slackness, soft-bellied, down over the edge of the stone trough and rested his throat upon the stone bottom. And where the water had dripped from the tap in a small clearness, he sipped with his straight mouth.
A day came out on the mountains. Narcissus was driving and hunting and killing the deer when Echo saw him. Echo, who cannot be silent when another speaks. Echo, who cannot speak at all unless another has spoken. Echo who always answers back.
The sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. Listen.
The moment Echo saw Narcissus, she was in love. She followed him, like a starving wolf following a stag too strong to be tackled, or like a cat in winter at the fireside. She could not edge close enough to what singed her and almost burned her. She almost burst with longing to somehow find out some way of telling him how she felt, but she had to wait for someone else to speak so she could snatch at their words with whatever sense they might lend her.
Rent it, dent it, bang it, prang it, scorch it, torch it, crash and burn it. Don't return it. Lost deposit, let 'em earn it. Who cares? It's on the firm. It's a hire car, baby.
It so happened Narcissus had fallen apart from his companions. He hallooed them. Where are you? I'm here. And Echo caught at the syllables as if they were precious. I'm here, she cried. And I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm here. Narcissus looked around wildly. I'll stay here, he shouted. You, come to me. And come to me, shouted Echo. Come to me, to me, to me, to me. Narcissus stood still, whether to stay or go. He started to run, calling as he ran, stay there! And Echo cried back, weeping to utter it. Stay there! Stay there! Stay there! Stay there! Narcissus stopped. Then, more quietly, let's meet halfway.
The day he died was the silkiest day of the young year, the first reconnaissance of the real spring, the first confidence of the sun. That was yesterday. Last night, frost. And as hard as any of all winter, Mars and Saturn and the moon dangling in a bunch on the hard-littered sky. Today is Valentine's Day.
Come. And Echo eagerly replied, come. But as she emerged from the undergrowth, her expression pleading, her arms raised to embrace him, Narcissus turned and ran. No, he cried, no. I would sooner be dead than let you touch me. Echo collapsed in sobs, her voice mounting towards the mountains, crying, touch me, touch me, touch me, touch me. My nerves are bad tonight. Yes, bad. Stay with me, speak to me. Why do you never speak? Speak! What are you thinking of? What? Thinking what? I never know what you're thinking. Think.
Japonica glistens like coral in all the neighbouring gardens, and today we have naming of parts. This is the lower sling swivel, and this is the upper swing swivel, whose use you will see when you are given your slings. And this is the piling swivel, which in your case you have not got.
I think we are in Rat's Alley, where the dead men lost their bones. What is that noise? It's the wind under the door. But what is that noise now? What is the wind doing? Nothing. Again, nothing. Do you know nothing? Do you see nothing? Do you remember nothing? I remember. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Are you alive or not? Isn't nothing in your head but oh, that Shakespearean rag. It's so elegant, so intelligent. What shall I do now? What shall I do? I shall rush out as I am and walk the streets with my hair down so. What shall we do tomorrow? What shall we ever do?
Two black, critical, matching crows, calling a ricochet, eating its answer, dipped home, and a minute later, the ground was a wave and the sky wouldn't float.
The hot water at 10, and if it rains, a closed car at 4, and we shall play a game of chess, pressing lidless eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. I thought it was
fantastic. I mean, it's brilliant to have that many people turn up for poems. I love poems.
Absolutely extraordinary. Quite uplifting.
I think learning poems means that you begin to learn them in your body, and that thing, the phrase by heart, really means that you learn them in your heart, not in your head. You have them in your body, and it makes it much more fluent for oneself, but also they have new meanings. They go on meaning different things as life goes on.
Poetry does drill itself into your brain, the rhythm, the rhyme. It has that quality of forcing itself into you, and you want to pass it on.
What I liked about it was small. You need to do lots of small ones everywhere, not one big one, because poetry is a kind of intimate thing, and that was what was really nice about it. Real sense of community.
Poetry means, something that I carry in my pocket, something that informs every day. The poem I read is something I think about all the time.
I think he loved the poems. He's been present for the whole performance.
I love poetry. I've got a block about visual arts. I can't be doing with visual arts, or I don't understand it, but I love poetry and I love music.
I felt I was attending a sort of religious ceremony in which I thought some good spirit was arriving down into the room, and that, it was a good deed in a naughty world, as Shakespeare said. I thought it was a fantastic evening.
I thought it was fantastic. A brilliant, brilliant mixture of people.
It's probably the greatest art form, because in the end, in painting is the poetry of painting. In music is the poetry of music. Poetry is actually the highest art.
I came down from the Cotswolds for a poem.
And I wished he would come back, my snake. For he seemed to me again like a king in exile, uncrowned in the underworld, now due to be crowned again. And so I missed my chance with one of the lords of life, and I have something to expiate, a pettiness.
Rolling up their veils, taking the steel taps out of their tips and heels. Grass lifts, hedge breathes, rose shakes its hair, birds bring out all their washed songs, puddles like long knives flash on the roads, and evening is come with a late sun unloading a silence, tiny begin-agains dancing on the night's edge. But what I want to know is, whose is the great grey wicker limber hound, like a stepping on coal, going softly away?